Welcome back to MKE Gadgets. Before we start today's video, please support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you. Today we're going to do a long overdue project, and we're going to upgrade my tripod into a camera stand. The tripod I got free off of Craigslist a couple years ago, and it has some problems. One is it's easily, if you bump it, everything shakes for a while. So then you got to stop for the shaking before you can start filming again. With the three legs of the tripod, I'm always tripping over it in the shop. Let's remove the camera, and I'll show you what we got, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do to improve the situation. If you've seen any of my previous videos, this is how we start out. And this is my camera, which is my iPhone. And I'm using a GoPro stand with a clamp. And then this is a tripod that I got free off of Craigslist. I can't complain about the tripod. It's not the tripod's fault. It's just inherent flimsy. So if I remove my phone that I use for a camera, I printed this phone holder off of Thingiverse. It's two pieces, and there's a spring as a clamp. So we're going to replace the tripod with a much stronger, sturdier camera stand that has a smaller footprint, so I'm not tripping over it all the time. So let's start from the bottom. First, we're going to need some wheels. And for that, some roller skates I got free off of Craigslist. I love roller skates and roller blades because they're 3 wheels and they last forever. From there, we're going to need an axle, and this is 1/4 threaded rod with some nuts and washers, and that's going to be inserted into this pipe. The threaded rod is too small of a diameter to fit into this pipe, but I have some old sockets here that I'm never going to use, and that's going to act as a bushing that's going to get welded into the pipe. The other day I was talking to my neighbor lady Rose, and she was getting new brakes on her Escort wagon. And I asked if I could have the old brake rotors, and she said sure. So these two get welded together. Going up from the brake rotor is a floor flange. Now all this plumbing I'm going to show you, I got at my Mega Big box store. This is 1/2 inch. That will get welded on there. So the floor flange will have a close nipple to a 1/2 inch T. The 1/2 inch T gets a cord straight fitting. So going into the cord straight is going to be an extension cord. And here I have this long one with the end cut off. So I'll use, I don't know, 10, 20 feet of this. On top of the T is 1/2 inch pipe, 48 inches long. The 48 inch piece will come into this plus. The plus will have an air close nipple. On the back of that nipple is a watertight enclosure, an electrical box. In the electrical box will be an outlet. Now going on top of the plus is a close nipple. And a reducer, 1/2 inch to 3/4. Coming out of the 3/4 adapter, we're going to screw in a piece of Loc-line, 3/4 of an inch. On the end of the 3/4 inch Loc-line, I'll add my camera bracket, which is currently being used to film this scene. All the plumbing joints, I'm going to use Teflon tape. That way they don't rust together, and it makes it easier putting them together and taking them apart. Some projects like this, you put it together and take apart a lot. The brake rotor will have wheels on one side and a foot for leveling. This is 1/2 inch 13. I got some nuts here I'll weld on, so this will all be leveled. So the first thing I want to weld is the socket into the tube. I ground a little bit of the chrome off, put a little notch in there, and I'm going to fill that with weld. I want those two surfaces to be flush. I think the notch is big enough for a little bit of weld. So that's what we're going to do first. I think those two little welds are going to hold that socket in there. Off camera, I'm going to grind that flush, and then I'm going to notch the other side. With both sockets welded in and ground flush, I ground the black coating off of the pipe, and now we're going to weld the brake rotor to the black pipe. I have this coupling nut, and I ground some of the plated finish off. This washer and nut are just to hold it for location. The last part to weld on is the floor flange, and I removed some of the black coating. So I'm just going to center it by eye the best I can and weld a couple tacks around there. The first weld I put on here lifted the flange up about 1/8 of an inch. So I have this clamp on here, I'll weld over here, and that should equalize it. Then I'll do a couple at 90 degrees. With that all welded, now we start assembling. I'm going to let it cool off before I touch anything. With the welds all cooled off, now it's time to assemble. So first thing we're going to do is pull our cord through our cord string. Then the cord goes in the T. We're going to pull the cord first, and then we're going to screw everything together through the piece of pipe that's 4 feet long. Then the cord to the plus or the four-way, whatever you want to call it. Through one of the closed nipples. And finally into the back of the electrical box. Now we can start assembling these backwards. And then the T onto the 4-foot pipe. One of the closed nipples on the T. Now the whole thing gets screwed into the brake rotor. Get out the old pipe wrench and start tightening up. Now we'll bring in the cord straight and screw that in there. This is one of those situations where electrical and plumbing work together real nice. Well, with all the work done on this end, let's put our attention to the top. Got an 1.5-inch nipple. We're going to screw that in. And then our adapter, 1/2 to 3/4. I'm using 2 feet of Loc-line here, 3/4 inch. Now I have to wire up the outlet. And if you're not comfortable doing electrical work, please consult a licensed electrician in your area and have them help you. The outlet is optional, and I'll show you why I'm doing that at the very end of the video. So I'm gonna go off camera here. We'll wire that all up, and we'll come back and check it all out. So this is kind of fun. I'm using the new camera stand to shoot a video about the new camera stand. So next we have to test the outlet, make sure it's wired up right. I have my little handy tester here. If I plug it in and it's wired up correctly, these two yellow lights will light up. And look at that, it's wired correctly. A couple weeks ago, I made a video on how to add Loc-line and a clamp to a LED light. And this is going to be my new light for shooting videos. And that's why I added an outlet here. I can plug my light in here. And no matter where I go in the shop, I can clamp right on here. My camera stand and my light on a cord. This cord's about 100 feet long and the shop is not that big. So after I use it for a while, I'm going to decide on how long it should be and shorten it. Let me go handheld here and give you a full view. So I'm handheld here, so just be patient with the bouncing here. So I got my phone, my Loc-line, an outlet, clamp, Loc-line going to my light. And if you go down the pole, you can see the wheels down there. Those were roller skates I got free off the curb. And I can just go up here like a hand truck and kick this back and very easily move this around the shop anywhere I want to go. Has a lot smaller footprint than my tripod and it's a lot more stable. So this is MKE Gadgets. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I've used some Loc-line, a little electrical parts, some plumbing parts, roller skate wheels, and making the camera stand that will also hold a light, easy to move around. Please support me by subscribing to my channel. Click the like button and tell your friends. This is MKE Gadgets. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.